Hey collectors, welcome to Star Wars Collected. I'm Jonathan. If you're new here, I hope you consider sticking around and subscribing. But if you've been here before, I want you to hit that like button like it's a trap, because what I have for you guys today is the new Gentle Giant Admiral Ackbar statue. Love this guy. Can't wait to open it up and show it to you. All right, collectors, I am really excited about this statue because I am a huge Admiral Ackbar fan. I love the Mon Calamari design. There are certain aliens like Admiral Ackbar, like Max Rebo. I love Ithorians. There are certain alien designs out there that I just really love and latch onto. And I've always thought Admiral Ackbar was a really cool character. It's funny, I've heard that Richard Marquand, the director of Return of the Jedi, stated that he kind of wanted Admiral Ackbar to sort of be unattractive to kind of show kids or people that you don't necessarily have to be the handsome looking movie star to be a good guy. And I don't know if that resonated with me as a kid or what, but I always loved that he just looked the way he did, but was so like smart and tactful and was in charge, and that really hit me. It was just really cool. So I am a big Admiral Ackbar fan. I've been really wanting like a 1-to-1 scale Admiral Ackbar like bust for a long time, but those are very hard to find at a price that I'm willing to pay. There's been some really cool statues over the years. I know NYC made a really cool Admiral Ackbar statue. There was one available through the hyperdrive of him sitting on that really cool chair that you see, but I've kind of missed on all those. So I was really excited when Gentle Giant said that they were going to make an Admiral Ackbar statue. And the pre-order sold out, as I recall. It is available right now though on their website, so if this is something that you see and you love, then you want to go check that out. I, of course, if you've been following my channel for a while, have a little rule when it comes to Gentle Giant, and we'll talk about that later. But let's start here with the box. So on the front we have his portrait here, and he is holding a data pad, it looks like, of some sort. He's got some kind of tool here as well. You see him in all of his glory. It's a really good stance for him. On the side panels here, of course, this isn't a figure, so he's going to have the same statue stance throughout. Very similar to the front. On the side here, he's kind of got the little 70s heeled boots there, even though this is shot in the 80s. But this shows that he has a swappable hand to the DH-17, the kind of rebel blaster, as we often call it. And on the back here, you've got a nice little close-up. This is part of Gentle Giant's Milestone collection, which means it's 1/6 scale. That's about as small as I like to collect, although Gentle Giant does offer their statues in quite a few different scales, so sometimes you just sort of have to go with what they want. This is number 282 out of 1,000, so there are 1,000 of these out there in the world, and I am just really excited. As I've grown my collection over the years, I am growing a little tired of humanoids and a little tired of troopers. And I feel like the aliens, which I think for so many of us stand out the most. You think about the cantina scene, you think about Jabba's palace, something like that. The aliens just is what makes Star Wars feel so rich. One of the main criticisms I see of a lot of the Disney Plus shows, and sometimes of just the movies in general, is, where are the aliens? Give us more aliens. And I love that when you watch something like The Bad Batch or something in animation, it's all the same to them, so they can throw a ton of aliens in there. But I am shocked of how little things that we get from Sideshow, from Hot Toys, that represents these characters. The aliens are just way underrepresented, I think. Now, Gentle Giant does a pretty good job. They make a ton of busts, which I am not the biggest fan of. I don't know why, I just want the full figure. So the busts are really cool, and they've done a ton of aliens over the years, but I am a statue guy. But I'm shocked that someone like Sideshow and Hot Toys hasn't made more aliens. I know back in the day, Sideshow made a lot of aliens. Those are actually still some of the most expensive ones out there. And while Sideshow pieces have gotten a whole lot better over the years, and Hot Toys is even a step above that, a lot of times the human portraits on some of those early Sideshow stuff just doesn't look all that good now. But one of the nice things about the aliens is we don't have that that uncanny valley type thing going on, where I think you get a little bit more leeway with maybe not getting the aliens absolutely perfect, and they still look really good. So let's dive into the box here. Let's start with some small things here. So we have two different hand options. We're gonna have this with this little staff type thing. I'm sure there's an entire name and Wikipedia article about this, but checking this out real quick, I feel like I'm already learning things about Ackbar. Often you'll see his hands offered with one of his busts if you're on Etsy or something like that. They're very common, so you can make an entire cosplay out of it. But this is really cool because it's really showing, like, he's got his thumb there, and then this finger is pretty normal, but it's these two fingers on him that are super long, and then he's got two more fingers after that. So I had no idea until I unboxed this that Ackbar technically has 6 fingers, and of course, as we know, they are webbed. This option here, we've got the DH-17, a little simplified. Like I'm pretty sure the DH-17 has a D-ring on the back, and the tip of this is usually clear. Cutting a little bit of corners there to make this viable, but magnets in the palm here, and then if you ever wondered how Admiral Ackbar would grab his blaster, it's still a normal trigger finger here, 2 fingers back, gripping it, and then 2 more right there down at the base. So we've got 2 different hand options, and we're gonna get the base out here. Now this base is pretty cool because I don't think we've ever seen a base that is based off of the deck of a Mon Calamari ship. I can't think of one. You know, you get a lot of the like black with the gloss and sort of like the little pills shapes on the outside edge, sort of Death Star-like, and you'll get some Death Star paneling here and there, but I can't think of any time that we've had the deck of a Mon Calamari ship as a collectible base. So this is pretty cool to see. So we'll put that here and we'll bring him out. All right, so here is our boy. Some really cool things I'm just seeing right off the bat. The wrinkling to the pants is really, really good, but I'm actually really impressed with how these feet are put on here. They must have been separate pieces that they glued in, because you get a lot of this cool separation here between the actual pant leg and the boots. They look like Chelsea boots, similar to what the troopers might have worn, but it does look like a separate piece opposed to being molded into one thing. So that's a pretty nice little detail there. You have his belt around the front here. Nice little overhang here as well at the back of his little tunic. You can see that the tunic is not one piece. It kind of goes over top and it's kind of belted in, so you can see that stripe running all the way down. We do have a little seam here at each shoulder. Since the arm isn't removable, maybe a slight disappointment. I don't think that's meant to be a seam on the shirt, and the way that that lines up is good, but not perfect. So yeah, a little bit more of a seam separation here than what I'd like to see. I totally understand why it's that way because of assembly. His data pad here is very in with that, you know, late 70s, early 80s retrofuturism type thing that we're used to now. It's got some cool charts on it, some little knobs and some buttons on it. You can see his left arm there grabbing it. Of course, he's got these big claws down here, very inspired by a crab or a lobster, but there's some good detailing throughout that. Got these little spikes on there, which are a little brittle. You wouldn't want to mess with those too much, but a really good job on the paint. A lot of times I find the Gentle Giant offers, I think, a really good value, but falls down a little bit when it comes to their paint application, and it's almost always on humans. Getting that skin tone is just really difficult, but you get a little bit more leeway when it comes to an alien. So as we get up here to the face, he's looking pretty darn good. I would say the proportions are right. The size ratio between the head and the shoulders and the rest of the body looks right to me. I like that he has a little bit of a belly, because that's just how I like my Admiral Ackbar, with just a little bit of a belly. It just, you know, he's Daddy Ackbar, and I think it makes sense. And I love just the shape of his head is just such an interesting, cool shape, somewhere between like a goldfish and a snail or something like that. It is really quite nice. There is a nice gloss on the eyes, which gives it a little bit more life. In a perfect world, I think that you would have done these a little bit differently. When I think of Admiral Ackbar's eyes, I think of them being kind of set back, the actual, you know, iris and retina and things like that. I think of those being a little bit more set back in the face, and then like a big clear bulb over the top. This is all very much pushed to the front. And there are some nice wrinkles and little tentacle hanging down thingies here and there, but it would be nice to see maybe those wrinkles be a little bit deeper and have some of these little pieces, these little things that kind of come across as like mustache type hair, be off the actual face. That would maybe be a little bit nicer. And he's got some pretty deep nostrils here. There is no darkening inside of those though. So maybe that would have been cool to maybe see that be painted black or something like that. Got a little plaque here on the chest as well. Overall, the sculpt looks really, really good, and I'm very pleased with that. But let's go ahead and put our guy here in his power pose. Let's bring him in like this, like that. Boom, he's in. So we have 2 different hand options. Let's go ahead and bring both those out, and we're going to put him on our Lazy Susan. Let's start off here with the DH-17. We'll put that in there. Again, they have magnets in the base of this, so it just snaps right in. Feels nice and snug without having to kind of wedge it in there, worry about whether you're gonna ruin the paint or something of that nature. And there he is, looking very triumphant, very much a man of war here, ready to fight. Now, DH-17 wielding Daddy Ackbar is not really my Admiral Ackbar, so I'm probably gonna swap in this other tool. That is a little bit more the brilliant tactician that I think of when I think of my Admiral Ackbar. This is a really cool, confident stance, shows he's a tactician. It reminds me of sort of these like the vintage like general portraits that you'll see of, you know, the guys with their big coats and, you know, they're posed for their war portrait. But this, I think, really fits Admiral Ackbar well, and I think it's a really good, solid piece. So I would recommend this statue. I mentioned earlier that I have a rule when it comes to Gentle Giant. My rule when it comes to Gentle Giant is to not buy it new, or at least not buy it straight from Gentle Giant. This is nothing against them. I think that's a great company. I support them. I'm always happy when they release, especially new statues. I get bummed when they do busts because I don't want the bust, I want the statues. But I have only bought directly from Gentle Giant twice. The first time was an Ahsoka statue. And the reason that I don't recommend buying straight from them is they just don't hold their value. So the Ahsoka statue was, I don't know, a couple $100, something like that. Within a couple weeks, within a couple months, you're gonna find them on the secondary market for a whole lot less. Some of the older stuff goes for quite a bit. I've got the Rancor. Good luck finding that Rancor anywhere near what retail was. But anything that's new, it comes out, and I swear within a week or two, you can find them on eBay for, you know, at least 20% off, sometimes a lot more than that. I've gotten pieces for half off. I watched a statue of Rey. I think it's called the Dreamer statue, that I've been watching trade for about $100 for quite a few years, and I'm guessing the retail on that was quite a bit more than that. I saw one sell last night on eBay for $35, something like that, with shipping. So you're talking about $50 for a statue which was, you know, maybe been open before, but I don't think it had any defects or anything like that. So as much as I hate to tell you not to support the company that I actually like, if you're kind of like me, you're collecting on a budget, you're trying to make that dollar stretch as much as possible, I can't recommend that you go straight for them. The other one that I bought was Leia in the detention cell. A really nice statue, really good. I bought that with a coupon though, and I only bought it because I was not seeing that happening on eBay. It was one of the only statues of recent that was not trending downwards, it was actually trending upwards. And I think they had like 2 left in stock. And I just thought that was a really cool piece and I wanted it, but I still didn't pay full retail for it. So my recommendation with Gentle Giant stuff is look at the secondary market when you want to buy something. If you just feel like you need to lock it in and you need to get it through their website, feel free to do that. If it's your first time, I think they usually offer you a discount code so you can kind of still get it at a little bit of a reduced price. All right, collectors, that is my review of Admiral Ackbar here, Daddy Ackbar if you're nasty. And I think it's a great piece. I mean, I don't think buying this piece would be a trap. I think that this is an excellent piece for you to pick up. If you're an Admiral Ackbar fan, if you're a Return of the Jedi fan, if you are a Star Wars military fan, I think this is really good. All right, guys, if you like things like Star Wars statues, if you like things like helmets, 1-to-1 scale replicas, premium format, you like hot toys, you like 1-to-1 scale props, whatever it might be. If you like Star Wars, you're in the right spot. Make sure you subscribe. Also make sure you're following us on Instagram. It's a place where you and I can interact a little bit more directly. I'm always trying to be really active there, always putting out news and polls and funny little memes that I find and things like that. So make sure you check that out and we can interact that way. I have a whole bunch of stuff sitting in front of me. I've got probably about 7 helmets in front of me right now. I've got 2 NYC statues that I'm looking at. I got a little number from RS Prop Masters you might be familiar with. So a lot of cool content to come down the line, guys. But until then, I'll see you.